Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
Hello and welcome to My Hometown. I'm Bill Horan, along with my co-host, Stacy Raine.
Bill, I have a serious question for you this morning. If I had a heart attack, would you know what to do to save my life?
I know I'd call 911, but I never really handled medical emergencies, and I'm going to ask you to please not have a heart attack right now.
Well, I don't plan on it, but I thought it'd be a great idea to get some tips and learn how everyday people like you and me can learn some basic life support right here in Nassau County. So I invited my new friends from Mount Sinai South Nassau to tell us more. Our guests today are Abigail Fromm, a registered nurse, and their Director of Community Education, and Val Griffiths, also a registered nurse, and the Community and Staff Education Instructor and American Heart Association Training Center Coordinator.
Abby and Valentino, welcome to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Before we get into things, let me ask you, can you explain to us what community education means? What does that mean to us as lay people?
The community education, and I always tell the kids this when we do our teaching, is that we are like the teachers in the community. We teach the community on disease prevention and managing chronic heart disease. We also provide trainings on different skills, which we will talk about today, like CPR, Heimlich maneuver, and how to use an AED.
Is this a class that's like most of us think of going to school Monday morning from 10 to 12, or is it one night a week, or how do you educate the community?
So we are going to different sites in the community. We go to places of worship. We go to schools, universities. We also are invited to health fairs. We are also invited to different senior centers, those kind of community events. That's how we are teaching the community.
That's really excellent, because now you really are reaching out and to several people at the same time. And it sounds like those are the groups that honestly need it. They're either active or older groups and may have the emergency faster than another group.
Tell us a little bit about the topics that you're teaching about. What skills are you sharing with the community?
So today we're sharing with the community about CPR, which is hands-only CPR we're going to talk about. There are different kinds of CPR, which Val will later on explain. We're also going to teach you Heimlich maneuver. That's when someone is choking, and how to use an AED. This is the portable machine that we talk about when someone's having a cardiac arrest. And, you'll see this in public areas like airports, churches, schools, and different locations.
Now, Abby, you mentioned the initial CPR. Would you tell our audience what does that stand for and what does it mean to us?
Sure, I'll let Val explain that.
Sure.
Okay, so CPR stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
Sounds important. I think if I'm having a problem there, I want to be resuscitated. Am I right?
Definitely.
Okay. And
CPR with the cardio, meaning your heart, pulmonary, meaning your breathing. The resuscitation is the hands-only compressions that we do on your chest. So once someone has no heartbeat, no pulse, no breathing, that's when they need those compressions.
And it's definitely important.
That sounds scary. That sounds very scary. So we're talking about pretty serious situations then.
Now,
that's right.
How often do you offer these programs or courses? Is it a 1-hour session? Do people sign up for 3 1-hour sessions? Or is it like a school semester?
Well, you have different versions. So if I do the hands only, it's for anyone in the public, 9 years and up, who can do the hands-only, doing compression. That's on a daily basis in whatever community we are. It takes maybe 30 minutes to get done, and it's just giving you the skills and the understanding of what you're doing and how to correctly do it. But then you have those who would want to go further and get certified in doing it, who wants to go further with doing the compression, doing the breaths, everything that's included. That's a training session that you would need about 3 hours to accomplish if you want the full course. And with that, it's on a as-needed basis. So a whole team would request me to come in and teach a class, and then I would organize with them the best day and time.
And did I hear you say correctly, this starts, people as young as 9 can learn these skills?
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
9-year-olds are pretty strong. So if they get told 2 things to always know to do, call 911. And normally when you get 911, that dispatcher is speaking to you. They stay on the phone to guide you, to give you the confidence, to keep doing what you're doing. They're there with you the whole process until that help arrives. And in between that, they'll guide you in doing chest compressions and how to apply the compressions without even counting, just going to the beat of, they always talk about staying alive,
Yep.
Singing those songs. And for the kids, I use Baby Shark.
Oh, I didn't know that. Cool.
You keep to the beat of doing those compressions while you're singing that song in your head.
Stacey, I just picked up what Val said, that the first thing you tell them, call 911, and how smart that is, because now you have someone on the phone who can kind of relieve the pressure on you, like I'm scared, my mom just fell or something, and they can be giving direction. In the meantime, send over the proper medical people, an ambulance, police car, or someone who can give the treatment, but they can also be walking the person who's there, the well person, through the steps and give them confidence that they know what they're doing and they're helping the situation get better. So you really have this program down in good shape.
Yes. Just the 2 steps. Always remember, call 911. That's your Calvary's on the way.
Yeah. And we're talking about life-saving stuff. So you guys are getting people into a room. You're teaching them these critical skills, and then they're going out into the world and potentially one day might recall them to save someone's life. That's a big job.
We actually, if I may share, last year we went to a elementary school and we taught 400 kids to do CPR. And we said 2 things you have to remember: call 911, push hard and fast.
Okay.
Now, one of the things I noticed on a sheet that you provide, and we're going to start out with, when we use the expression, you use it, cardiac arrest, is that what we, again, lay people would typically call a heart attack? And what should we be looking for when an event of cardiac arrest might happen?
So I think, those are important points that I really want to emphasize, because for lay people, we're used to hearing heart attack, maybe more cardiac arrest in the hospital setting, but they're not the same. So if people hear cardiac arrest and heart attack, we need to make sure that they know the definition. And, cardiac arrest simply means that the heart malfunctions and stops beating unexpectedly. Cardiac arrest is an electrical problem. That is an electrical problem for cardiac arrest. Heart attack is a circulation problem, which means that this occurs when the blood flow to the heart is blocked. So this can lead to an electrical problem and cardiac arrest if left untreated. So heart attack, we want to make sure we call 911. Most people, they're awake, they have symptoms. Men and women have different symptoms, so those are also important to know, those symptoms. They need to be brought to the hospital immediately. If you have someone in cardiac arrest, that's when you call 911 and do the CPR. So cardiac arrest, they are unresponsive. You have to call 911 and start CPR.
So a heart attack, someone's not necessarily going to be unconscious. They might be having the symptoms. You just need to get them to medical attention immediately.
Correct.
But cardiac arrest, they're not going to be responding. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's when some of these life-saving skills are really, really critical.
Now,
Correct.
if we see someone, and let's say just again, we're all lay people, or we are here on this end, you're the medical people, but if we see someone and we think they're having or maybe having a heart attack, is it wise to say, get in the car and we drive them over to emergency, or is it better to call 911, or is there another alternative?
Great question. Don't hesitate to call 911, even if you're not sure it is a heart attack. Call 911 if you experience heart attack warning signs. It's almost always the fastest way to get life-saving treatment. So for many reasons, it's best to call 911 so that an experienced EMS team can begin treatment and arrange rapid transport to the emergency room. So don't drive yourself to the hospital.
So let's say Bill and I are out to lunch. We're walking down the street and we see someone lying there unconscious. What do we do?
Well, normally you didn't see them go down, you want to make sure the scene is safe.
Okay.
Because we don't know how they went down exactly, if it was a cardiac problem that caused them to go down. So number one is always scene safety. Make sure the scene is safe, because we do not want two people down. So you always check, make sure it's safe before you approach.
That's a good tip.
Yep. You try to get that response from them, because normally you're tapping the shoulder, screaming, hey, 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 are you okay? And that's when you get no response from them. You call 911 right away. And then the responder will speak to you on the phone, guide you through the process. And if you're confident enough to start chest compression, then there you go. You keep doing until help arrives.
Wow.
Now, we'll take that same lunch that Stacy and I are going to, that she just mentioned. We always get food in our radio shows one way or another. And I'm saying to her, Stacy, I don't feel too well today. And maybe I have a pain here or a pain there. What are some of the warning signs that she should say, wait, Bill, that means you might be having a heart attack and we better get that 911 call in? So can you give us a little bit of an alert as to the warning signs?
Yes, with men, women's most heart attack symptoms is chest pain or discomfort. But women may experience other symptoms that are typically less associated with heart attacks, such as shortness of breath, nausea and vomiting, or back or jaw pain.
So it's different for men and women? Is that?
Yes, that is right.
Did you know that? I never knew that.
I'd heard that once, but I didn't really know exactly the details.
It's not always I have chest pain. Women presents differently.
Wow.
And it's not super specific either. I mean, they are specific symptoms because you're telling them to me, but it's not something that I would think, oh, that's a heart attack. You have jaw pain? That's a heart attack. I just wouldn't think of that.
Yeah, I never would have.
You can walk around for days with having a heart attack.
Yep.
Some people walk around because then you may think, oh, maybe it's gas. And you start drinking tea. You're having Tums. You can walk around having a heart attack.
That's incredible.
And that's the big difference between a heart attack and a cardiac arrest. Heart attack, you possibly could walk around it, doing your treatment, taking ibuprofen, any type of Tylenol or anything to treat it. Cardiac arrest puts you down right away.
Wow.
Amazing. I'm going to take a minute to remind our listeners that you are listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Stacy Raine here with Bill Horan, and today we're learning about CPR and basic life support, as well as other community health education programs available at Mount Sinai South Nassau. Our guests are Abigail Fromm, a registered nurse and their Director of Community Education, and Val Griffiths, also a registered nurse, and the Community and Staff Education Instructor and the American Heart Association Training Center Coordinator.
Abigail and Val, I noticed this statistic here, and I want to present it to our audience, and you can confirm it. In 1 year alone, something like 436,000 Americans die from cardiac arrest. That's almost 500,000 people. And we hear about other diseases, and you have them listed here, and several of them, we could combine the numbers from them, and the deaths aren't that many. So what we're talking about is probably one of the top 3 or 4 events that could really cause a person to pass away, if not jumped on immediately or treated along with the instructions that you're giving us. Am I correct?
Right. Early recognition is key. As soon as you have symptoms, we don't want people to ignore them. If you're not feeling right, if you see someone not feeling right and have those symptoms like shortness of breath, jaw pain, or some neck pain, please don't hesitate to call 911.
Is that the biggest problem? Because I know when I don't feel well, all of a sudden I don't want to admit anything. Yeah, it's just a cough. It's just an earache or something. And to be honest, I haven't had that I know of any heart problems. But I think I would be the same way. Oh, it's just a stiff neck, or it's just a pain here. Maybe I pulled a muscle. Do most of us fall into that trap where we ignore it and wait too long?
Yes, we wait too long, then our chances for treatment is less. The hospital and the providers, they want us to be at the hospital timely because there are life-saving measures that they have to give us. Usually, I think anecdotally, man usually says, oh, I feel something, it's not right, I have stomach ache, but it's really not going away. I'm okay, I'm going to take something. I know it's not a heart attack. So many times when they say, I know it's not heart attack, it is heart attack. So
really?
When you hear that word, usually yeah, something's wrong.
Okay.
They usually say that. It's not heart attack. But
Almost like a secret way of telling people it's a heart attack, but I don't want to say heart attack, so I'll say it's a stomach pain or I stubbed my toe.
That's right.
So I want to talk a little bit about an AED. I know a lot of people hear that acronym and they don't know what it is or what to do with it. Can you give us a quick little primer on that so we know what it is when we see one and if we need to use one?
Okay, so AED stands for Automated Defibrillator. So it's a lightweight portable device and it delivers that electric shock. So the heart is like in confusion at that point whenever that person goes down. It either completely stops or it's in that confusion. You know, if someone's talking and rambling and you give them a smack to say, hey, get it together, that's what the AED does.
Don't give Stacy any ideas. She might try that with me. I ramble a lot. So be careful, Val. Be careful.
So with an AED, all you have to remember 2 things. Remember to turn it on and listen. Follow those prompts.
Okay.
You turn it on. It has pictures on it to show you where to place those pads. And you listen, it tells you every step of the way. And it will tell you when it's giving a shock. It tells you, make sure you're not touching the person at that time. Make sure the people around you aren't touching that person once it's ready to give a shock. And it tells you, okay, counts down to the shock. 1, 2, 3, shock. And it's giving it that jolt to bring that heart, hopefully to put that heart back on track into a regular, normal.
Now, I would think, or at least my first reaction I would have, that if I thought I saw someone having a cardiac arrest or a heart attack, call 911. I've just learned that from you, and that's very good. And then I would think probably the most likely people who would next in line be helpful, of course, if I had access to a nurse or a medical person, I would look to them. But police or fire personnel, is that a good judgment call, or are they not trained in that?
So it's anyone. You don't have to be certified to help and give compression.
Really?
You call 911, that dispatcher is on the phone talking to you, and they'll ask you, do you feel comfortable and confident enough to do compressions? Is there anyone else with you who could go away and grab that AED and bring it back to you? So you're not by yourself, especially when you're on 911. You do not need to be certified to do compression. If you're confident enough and willing to help, get it done. The sooner, the better.
I feel like I heard somewhere that, the alternative is this person doesn't have life-saving treatment. So, yes, you need to be confident enough, but you also have to recognize I'm the person here. There's no one else to do this. There's someone helping me and guiding me. So it is a scary thing to go start pushing on someone's chest. But the alternative is a lot scarier, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Now, Val and Abby, do you have some stories that you can tell us maybe that would be poignant and kind of alert us to the situation? Maybe someone you just worked with that was able to save somebody, or through their knowledge from one of your sessions, they were able to get someone to the 911 call quicker?
Well, I just met someone. Yearly, we do the Hope Day, which, it's a day of service. And we normally do it at a church in Hempstead. Mm-hmm. And last year I was there and I brought my mannequin and my training AED and had people take turns trying to see if they felt comfortable in doing compressions and guiding them through trying. And this year again, I went to the same church in Hempstead, and one of those people who tried last year came back and said it happened right in front of her, but she froze. She did call 911, but after that she froze. But the point is, she at least took the initiative to call 911 and didn't just freeze out. And someone else was around who was able to begin compressions, and she gained confidence as they were doing the compressions to get it together, grab the AED, turned it on, looked at the pictures, applied, and they actually saved someone's life.
Wow, that really is impressive. And I'll be honest, I think I would be one of those people who initially, and I'm going to use the word in quotes, would freeze. Now, sometimes a freeze can be 3 seconds, but in an emergency, it seems like half an hour. And by you telling us, at least if I called 911, I would feel, hey, I'm doing something positive.
Yes.
I'm on the road. And now they'll either tell me or someone in the room might say, well, don't you remember last week you took that course with Abby and Val? Just do what they said. And at least I get the machinery out, or I start pressing on the person and doing something that would kind of help it along. But it must feel great to know you were the initiator that saved that person's life.
Right.
And she clearly
felt good.
Yeah. And she clearly remembered that first step, because I do remember that from my training a few years ago. Is the first thing is always you call 911.
You know this stuff?
Well, I needed a refresher. So
I feel so much more confident sitting next to you. Thank you.
Do you feel safe?
My partner, she doesn't tell me this stuff. She doesn't say anything about it. Now, if I have a heart attack, I'll just bump her and say, take care of it. That you made things easy for me.
I will try to be confident.
Thank you.
So I'm going to take a moment and remind our listeners once again that you are listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Stacy Raine, here with Bill Horan, and today we're learning about CPR and basic life support, as well as other community health education programs available at Mount Sinai South Nassau. Our guests are Abigail Fromm, a registered nurse and their Director of Community Education, and Val Griffiths, also a registered nurse, the Community and Education Staff Instructor, and the American Heart Association Training Center Coordinator.
Now, Abigail and Val, can you tell us maybe some businesses out there that are hearing this and saying, gee, what could we do to kind of get involved and help somebody? Because a law office, an accounting office, a retail store, people are coming in and out all day, and the more people, the more chance of an event like this happening right there in the store. Is there some way they can get involved, maybe get behind you, maybe put up a sign about it? What would you advise them?
So we encourage people to take the training. Val has mentioned, the training is very simple. There are 2 simple steps for CPR: call 911, push hard and fast. And also, if you want to be certified, because either you work in school or a daycare or sports program, you could also take that, and we can be reached at 516-377-5333. Again, that's 516-377-5333. And you can let us know if you'd like us to come, if you have a group of, let's say, staff, teachers, or a group of, people that just wanted to take the class because they want to feel confident about it. They can reach us and talk to me or talk to Val. We'll be there for them.
Is there a website, too, where if someone didn't get that number down, we'll ask you that at the end of the show again, but is there a website where they could go to and find out how to get in touch with you?
Sure. So it's southnassau.org, and you can just click on community.
Perfect. That's easy enough to remember.
So I know when we're taking life-saving classes, one of the things that we often talk about is the Heimlich maneuver. If someone is choking, can you tell us just a little bit about that and what our listeners need to know if they see someone choking?
So normally with the Heimlich maneuver, also known as the abdominal thrust, it normally happens when you're out eating, normally at a restaurant. Mm-hmm. Someone begins choking and showing that universal sign of hands around the neck.
Okay.
Unable to speak. So hands around the neck, giving you that signal that, hey, I'm choking. Always, again, number one thing to do, call 911. You want to make sure help is on the way. And then if you choose to help them, is wrapping your hands around the waist. Or if it's a larger person or someone who's pregnant, you wrap your arms around their chest. Mm-hmm. And it's making that fist. If it's around the stomach, it's a fist above the belly button, gripping with the other hand, and you're pushing in and up really fast. Quick, rapid movement of pushing the hand in and up in the stomach, or if it's the chest because that person is a larger person or pregnant, it's around the chest, and you're pushing hard and fast. And it's continuous pushing until either that item comes flying out, or sometimes it becomes loose enough where that person can pick it out themselves, or sometimes in some cases it's that bad where now they become unconscious.
Oh my goodness.
And with that, you had already called 911, so you know help is on the way. You're going to lie this person down because now they've become unconscious. You lay them on the floor. And if you already know that hands-only compressions, you start chest compression right away until help gets there.
Okay.
Now, most of us, of course, are familiar with our local schools, and I think teachers are a hidden resource. We don't even give them enough credit for all they do because it's not just teaching in classroom, it's life lessons, etc. And, of course, being a large organization, they have people around them, younger and older, and we hear events where a ball hits a player, and it can be a relatively easy hit, but they go into either arrest or problems, etc. So are teachers a good group for this, and can they take this program as a group, or do you go to their school and talk to 30 or 40 teachers at one time?
I have taught, schools have reached out to us before, and I've brought them into my classroom because they want the full lesson, not just the basic hands only. So with that, I bring them into my classroom, and they do it in batches of groups, so it's more personalized. So I wouldn't do, for that training, I wouldn't do 20 or 30, maybe 10 at a time each session, and then based off of their schedule, they come in and they get a full lesson on doing compressions, giving breaths if they choose to, and doing the Heimlich maneuver.
That must be great.
So if someone wants the full lessons, they're going to come to your facilities. If someone wants the basic, what you can learn in 30 minutes, you actually can come to them.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to know.
So we have no excuses. You people are out there. You're willing to do it. You're very nice. We'll vouch for you. And you want to help us. So before we wrap up, once again, give us the phone number and the website.
Sure. So phone number is 516-377-5333. Our website is southnassaw.org.
That's easy to remember, southnassaw.org. And you gave us the phone number before, and we'll vouch for it. These are nice people who really want to help. And you may be that life-saving story without knowing it. So take an opportunity and get involved. We want to thank our guest today, Abigail Fromm, registered nurse and director of community education at Mount Sinai South Nassau, and Val Griffiths, community and staff education instructor and the American Heart Association Training Center coordinator. Abigail and Val, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
I'm Bill Horan. I'm here with Stacy Raine, and we want to thank you for listening to this week's episode of My Hometown.
We'd like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to WHPC@ncc.edu. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.